guys, today I will read chapter 12 of the book Rent a Bridesmaid. Yes, so awesome. And the last chapter, chapter 11, it is Miss Iris May Bloomfield's wedding. It's great. Everything went fine. Yeah, I love that wedding. Everything went amazing. And especially Tilly. She must be so happy because she can wear that bridesmaid dress, right? And now I will read chapter 12. But in the end of chapter 11, there's this sentences. It said, but guess what? Guess what? What is what? Guess what? So we will find out what's the meaning of that sentences. But guess what in this chapter, chapter 12, okay? Okay, I'm so excited. So yeah, if you're really excited, then I will read chapter 12 for you. Chapter 12. Another request, Dad? Oh, so that's me. Tilly is going to say to her dad that she got another request. Someone else wants to rent me, I said triumphantly, waving the letter like a flag. I read it quickly as Dad drove away. Oh, Dad, I absolutely have to do this wedding. Dad sighed heavily. No, I'm not letting you carry on like this, Tilly. I'm not having my daughter renting herself out. But look what a lovely day we've had with Mr. Flower and Mrs. Flower too. That was different. It was just a very small informal wedding for two dear old people, said Dad. Dear old people who have become like family to us now. Yes, they have, but it's highly unlikely that this lady will be like dear Iris, said Dad. He gave a quick glance at the letter as he drove. What's her name? Something Smith. It's a man, Dad. Simon Smith. He's the one fixing up Bridesmaid, said Dad. Are you going to be a secret for his bride? He hasn't got a bride. He's got another bridegroom, I said. Oh, Lord, he's marrying Matthew Castle. It's not in St. John's or any other church. He says they're not religious, so they're going to a registry office for their wedding. Oh, Dad, please can I be their special bridesmaid? Absolutely not, said Dad. He wavered a little when we got home, and I made him read Simon's letter for himself. Dear Tilly, I love your advert. This is like Simon's letter to Tilly. You're very good at drawing. Your dress looks truly beautiful. No wonder you determined to wear it at a wedding. My partner Matthew Castle and I are getting married in a couple of weeks. We've been together nearly 20 years. We're not religious, so we're having a simple registry office ceremony at the Guildhall with the 50 of our family and friends attending. However, we've had a peep at the venue and it does look a little too much like an office. We're going to bring flowers and we'll be wearing our Sunday best, so to speak, but we thought a special little bridesmaid would be the finishing touch. It would be perfect if you could come. You will need to discuss it carefully with your parents, of course. They might not be happy about the idea, but if they agree, perhaps your mom or dad might like to ring me on my mobile, 07779 54321. And then we can meet one evening and discuss arrangements. With best wishes, Simon Smith. There, Dad, doesn't he sound nice? I said. Yes, I suppose so. Very nice. But I still don't like the idea of you being a bridesmaid for strangers. Yes, Simon says you might not be happy about the idea, I said, tapping the letter. Well, that's annoying too, because I don't want you to think I'm angry about that. Couldn't we just vote him and meet up and see what he's like? I will. Please, Dad, today's been the best fun I've ever had in ages and ages. I know, honey, and I've enjoyed it too. Well, let me think about it. Let's have a cup of tea and that extra slice of cake Iris gave us to take home. I'm peckish all over it. Dad made the tea in our special and tittle mugs. He had M for Michael, and I had T for Tilly. There was an L for Laura, Mom's name, which we couldn't bear to throw it out, but we kept it right at the back of the china cupboard. I divided the cake carefully and put the halves on 2 different plates. We sat down on the sofa together, and I reached for my mug. Dad had filled it very careful, almost to the top. Careful, he said. Better go and take up your bridesmaid dress first. You don't want tea stain all down it if you're going to be wearing it to another wedding. So I can go to it. I gasped. I said, if, Tilly. I didn't push him further. I knew he was going to give in. I changed into my pajamas and hung my bridesmaid dress up carefully, fluffing out the skirts. I exclaimed it all over for stain or little rips, and I was very relieved to find it was still pristine, very beautiful, no stain in it, no food or no drinks. I drank my tea and ate my cake, and then lolled around on the sofa with Dad watching television. His mobile pinged with a message. Dad won't let me have my own mobile yet, which is incredibly mean and old-fashioned of him. But there's nothing I can do about it. I have to wait until I'm 10. Maddie has her own mobile. Needless to say, here's message for Tilly, said Dad, handing me his phone. Was dress success with Grinkley's? Zoo was ace. Monkeys rude. Their red bums. LOL, Maddie. So that message I just read is from Maddie. She added 3 smiley faces for a good measure. I fidgeted, not surely how to reply. Maybe I didn't even want to. I hated it when Maddie called Dear Mrs. and Mr. Flower and all their friends Grinkleys. Grinkleys, like there are many green, so that's old people. Well, Julie really was Grinkly, so much so that here her thick powder got caught in her creases, but that wasn't really her fault. Mrs. Flower had a dear little face with hardly any wrinkles at all. I was even more upset that she said the zoo was ace, using capital for emphasics. I pictured her having a brilliant time with that awful Marty, both of them shrinking identically all the monkeys. I've always loved the monkeys best when Dad and I used to go on our Sunday trips to the zoo. I laughed at them when they scampered about or made faces or snatched foods from each other. But I felt like crying when the mother monkeys cuddled their babies, running their fingers tenderly through their fur. There was nothing remotely funny about their neat little bottom tucked under their tails. Maddie clearly meant the baboons, which actually did have pretty starlings behind. Fancy not knowing the differences. You're stupid. You mean baboons, not monkeys. That's my message. I started texting. Dad was looking over my shoulder. Hey, don't send that, he said. It doesn't sound very friendly, doesn't it? Well, I'm not sure I want to be friendly. I'm a bit sick of her. I'm not sure I even want her for my best friend anymore. I said, she can be so stupid at times. Downright stupid, said Dad. He said in a squeaky old lady voice. He sounded just like Julie. That shut me up. And I deleted my message, and I got my drink books and crayons. I wonder about doing a zoo picture. And I would already done that. I drew Mr. and Mrs. Flower on their honeymoon. Instead, I didn't know what the Isle of Wight looked like, but it seemed safe enough to draw them on a sandy beach. I gave Mrs. Flower a pretty sundress with a floral print. Mr. Flower wore a big bright shirt, and shorts down to his knees. They were both in deck chairs, eating ice creams. The beach all around them looked a bit empty, so I drew Dad and me too. Building a sandcastle together, I filled in the rest of the sand with palm trees, though I wonder if they were a little tropical for the Isle of Wight. I wanted the trees there so I could draw lots of different monkeys, families on their holidays. I drew a row of tiny deck chairs along the branches, so the mom and dad monkeys could bath in the sunshine, while the baby monkeys slid down a slide into a paddling on the sand, and then I scampered all the way to the top again to repeat the experience. Such a wonderful picture. They looked so funny that I couldn't help chuckling, even though I would invented the joke myself. Dad peered over my shoulder, and he laughed out loud, telling me I was a brilliant artist. He said that several times to me in the past, but then he would always add it, "You obviously take after Mom," which always upset us both. But this time he didn't say it, just went on remarking on the monkey antics and shaking his head at my invention. I think he's exaggerated simply to make me feel good, but it certainly worked. I returned Maddie's text just before I went to bed. Just mega success. Love monkeys too. Tilly X. That was my message. Dad brought me breakfast in bed on Sunday morning, a bowl of apricot yogurt with a real apricot cut up on top, and then toast and honey, and then we lazed around in our pajamas in the living room. Dad browsed in the Sunday papers on a monkey theme again on his iPad, and I did another drawing. It was a monkey theme again, yeah, and Dad was reading a newspaper about monkeys. I really want Dad to like my picture, so I started drawing it. I drew a monkey wedding with a little monkey bride in a white dress, a matching white ribbon tie on the end of her tail, and a minute teacher with a bunch of bananas for a bouquet. The groom balanced a top hat on his head and wore a tailcoat and striped trousers, but I left his funny monkey feet bare. They had a bridesmaid, of course. In fact, they had a whole troop of bridesmaids processing 2 by 2. The older, taller ones were walking upright, holding out their sewed skirts carefully, but the little ones at the back were gambling about on all fours, their dresses tucked into their frilly knickers. So funny. I called Dad to have a look, and he laughed and told me I was brilliant again. I colored it all, and while Dad listened to that funny old Atcher program on the radio, 2 of the Atcher's men were deep in discussion about a new type of combine harvester. I decided to start a third monkey picture with a countryside setting this time, though I wasn't all at all sure how to draw a combine harvester or even a tractor, but Dad said I better go and have a bath and get dressed instead. Can I stay in my PJs all day? Well, you can, but you'll look a little odd going out to lunch in them, said Dad. We're going out to lunch, Jay! Can we go to Guacamama? No, we're going to have a Sunday roast today. Well, I think we are. In a pub? Can I have a fizzy lemonade again? We've been inviting to lunch at someone's home. Really? I was puzzled. We never went out to lunch with anyone. Did Maddie's mom ask us? No, though she always said we'd be very welcome. So, who is it? Dad, stop messing about and tell me. We're going to lunch with your friend Simon, said Dad. I stared at him, wrinkling my nose. My friend Simon? The only Simon I could think of was a horrible boy in my class who always picked his nose and made me feel sick. Not Simon in Miss Hope's class, I asked. No, you're Simon, the potential bridegroom, said Dad. But we don't know him. We haven't phoned him yet, though I do hope you do soon. I phoned last night after you were asleep. Oh, Dad, I wanted to listen too. Yes, well, I wanted to check everything out first. And did he sound nice? Dad smiled. He sounds incredibly nice. We had a really long chat. And then Simon invited us for lunch. So chop chop, Tilly, you can have first bath. I skipped upstairs and rushed to get ready. Should I wear my bridesmaid dress, Dad, so they can see what it looks like? I asked. No, you need to keep it spotless. But we're taking it with us in the car, so they can have a look at it. Dad called from the bathroom. Yes, but they'll be taking a look at me too. And I don't look anywhere near as pretty when I'm not in the dress. I said. You'll look pretty in a plastic bag, said Dad. But you would say that, wouldn't you? You're my dad. Well, dads are allowed to say that, said Dad. But you look lovely, honestly, Tony. I wasn't at all convinced. I looked very pale and ordinary, and when I wasn't in raspberry silk, my hair wouldn't fluff out properly, and my t-shirt and jeans looked too ordinary. I put my best dress on instead, navy with blue birds flying all over it. I hoped it looked okay with my denim jacket. My socks were clean, but they weren't bright white anymore. I worried that Simon and Matthew might think me a bit scruffy. I hoped they would be distracted by my sparkly trainers, that they wouldn't notice my socks. Dad made an effort with his clothes too. He wore his jeans, but they were his best pair, and he put on a proper white shirt. Should I wear a tie or not? He asked. A tie looks smarter, but I don't want to look as if I'm trying too hard. I gave Dad a sideways look. He never usually fussed about clothes. Guys like Simon and Matthew are generally very well turned out, he said. Dad was generally right about things, but he was wrong about Simon and Matthew. They definitely weren't very fashionable. Simon was quite plump, with very short hair, but he was going quite bold at the front. He wore an old sweatshirt with a star and a baggy jeans and old canvas shoes. Oh, hi, you must be Michael, and this is Tilly. Hey, Tilly, and is this the famous dress? Simon said, peering at the cellophane bag. It's a fantastic color, and you look fantastic in it. I liked him straight away. So did Dad. Simon led us into a sitting room. It has Sunday papers all over the big sofa, and lots of books everywhere, and best of all, a big white staffy with a sparkly pink collar lying on her own little sofa. She raised her head and barked at us, but in a very friendly manner. How do you feel about dogs, Tilly? This is Lulu. She might look a little fierce, but she's an absolutely softie. I think she's lovely, I said. Would she mind if I patted her? Well, she'll like it very much, said Simon. Careful though, Tilly, said Dad anxiously, clearly fussed about Lulu's jaw. Lulu's jaw. Large jaw, stuffed with his big teeth. I promise she loves children, said Simon. I often take her to school. I stared at him. I had a comical vision of him in a sweatshirt with a badge and little shorts and roll-down socks. I'm a teacher, he said. Well, I'm actually head of large-road infants, but I still have to do as much teaching as I can. I love it in the infants, I said, stroking the Lulu carefully. She seemed to enjoy it, because she gave a little sigh and looked against me. I remembered the finger painting and the water trough and the playhouse where we would play moms and dad. And I had a mom, as well as a dad then, and she came to collect me every afternoon, and I skipped home hanging onto her hand tightly, as if even then I was scared she would run away from me. There was a lovely smell of cooking wafting through the house, and the sound of whistling. Is your partner a teacher too? Dad asked. No, he sells second-hand and antiquarian books, mostly on the internet now. But it still has a little shop in a market lane, said Simon. Castle books. Dad and I cried in unison. It was our absolute favorite shop ever. We would stumble across it by chance. When Dad went to the market to buy fruits and vegetables, we would wander up down the alleyway hauling carrier bags of oranges and apples and potatoes. Past poky little shops selling second-hand clothes, dish mops and duster, and old mini records. And right at the end was Castle Books. It was as small and shabby as the other shops, but the wall above the shop window was painted with castle turrets and pretend crumbling brickwork, so that the shop looked like a real castle. When we went inside, we saw the books had long slits erupted from the shelves and had spread like lava over most of the floor. We had to step very carefully, but the largest piles of old art books made very careful seats if we wanted to browse. There was a special children's section filled with old Ladybird books and Tancred Enid Blytons, and a half of shell of Noel paperbacks that I was steadily buying with my pocket money. We have got to know the bookshop owner, a smiley, scruffy man with a curly hair and a curly beard, and generally a curly smile on his face. And now that exact same man came into the living room, a strippy apron over his t-shirt and jeans, and over it wrote Aaron. "Hello, I'm Matthew Castle," he said politely, and then he did a double take. "Hello, you're Jew. See, they are my special customer. What a coincidence." He grinned at me. "So you're our little renter bridesmaid," he said. "Yes, please," I said. I rolled back the cellophane and showed them my bridesmaid dress. "Do you like it? I've got a matching petticoat and pink shoes. They actually rub my feet a bit, but I could try wearing socks. I need some new ones anyway, and I could put a pink ribbon in my hair if you like. It might make me a bit prettier," I gabbled. "Oh, honey, you look adorable," said Matthew. "You're BR finishing touch. Beautiful proof that this is a special wedding, not a visit to an insurance office," said Simon. "If you wanted a bridesmaid, why didn't you ask one of the children at your school?" Dad asked. I didn't think of it until I saw Tilly's enchanting advert in a newsagent shop. But then how could I possibly choose between all my adored infants? If I single out some similarly pretty little child, I would be accused of cross favoritism and the other mothers would hate me. What about Tilly's mother? I take she's in favor of Tilly being our bridesmaid," Simon asked. He saw Dad and me exchange glances. "Sorry, I think I've put my foot in it," he said quickly. "Are you a single parent, Mr. Andrews?" Matthew asked. "Call me Michael, please." "Well, yes, I suppose I am now. I'm bringing up Tilly. I know it's a bit unusual, but not unusual at all. I've got 2 single dads at my school, and they both doing a splendid job." "Like you, Michael," said Simon. "I don't know about splendid," said Dad. "In fact, I've been a bit rubbish at it one way and another." "Tilly, do you like cooking?" said Matthew. I nodded. "I can cook heaps of things," I boasted. "Well, that's great, because I could do with a bit of help in the kitchen. Come on, lovely dear." So we left Dad and Simon having a bit of heart-to-heart while we went to cook. I peered at all the pots up top of the stove and got a bit worried. I don't think I could do that sort of cooking, I admitted. I know how to boil eggs and I can do baked beans on toast, but I've never done a proper meal. "Well, that's my job. You're going to be the pudding girl," said Matthew. He took a large blue glass of bowl out of the fridge. "Truffle! I've done that boring bit. The sponge and the jelly and the custard. I want help with the topping. You think you could whip up some cream for me and then do the decorating?" I love decorating the trifle. Matthew showed me how to whip the cream with a funny whisk, smoothing it all over the top of the custard, and then I set about making it pretty. Matthew gave me a glum-shot cherries, almonds, little green stick of angelica, spa pink icing, roses, tiny silver bowls, and rainbow hundreds and thousands. Well, what should I use? I asked. Whatever you like, all of them, said Matthew. I etched the trifle with a circle of alternate cherries and almonds, and then I started filling in the rest. Matthew showed me how to put more cream in a little bag and then squeeze out of the nozzle so that it made a little creamy whirl. I topped each with a pink rose, snipping tiny pieces of angelica to look like stalks. I circled the middle rosy whirl with a little silver bowls and then sprinkled the hundreds and thousands all around. Oh my, it's a work of art, said Matthew. Pop it back in the fridge while I get the chicken out of the oven. Can you get the table properly laid, sweetheart? Cutlery in the top drawer, napkins in the drawer underneath, and let's arrange those pretty flowers and put them on the table too. We bought the Muslim a bunch of carnations, very ordinary ones from a garage, because we couldn't find a proper flower shop open. I looked from a vase, but Matthew brought out a set of 8 little blue gases. Fill each one half full of water, and then pop 1 carnation in each, he suggested. It made the flower very special when I arranged them in a row along the wooden table. There are 2 flowers left over, I said. Well, we don't want to waste them, said Matthew. He stuck a carnation each side of my hair, like slides. Very beautiful, very pretty. I think you better reproduce the look on our wedding day. When we called Dad and Simon into the kitchen for lunch, Dad looked strange, and his eyes were a bit red, almost as if he had been crying. I looked at him anxiously, hoping he would be able to enjoy his lunch. It was a wonderful lunch, too. The chicken with bread, with special bread sauce, crisps, roast potatoes, cauliflower, runner beans, and peas. Matthew carved and dished out the meat, and then pulled the wishbone with me. I ended up with a bigger end, so I got the wish. I closed my eyes tight, wondering what to wish for. I would wish that everyone would admire my trifle, that Dad would stay happy, that Maddie would be my best friend forever, that I would look lovely for Simon and Matthew's wedding. That's the flower blooming on their honeymoon. So many different wishes. But in the end, I wished the same old wish, though I knew it'd be wasted. I wish Mom would come back. Some of the other wishes came true anyway. Dad cheered up, especially after he had a glass of wine with his lunch. All 3 men clapped when I fetched the trifle from the fridge and told me it was absolutely delicious when they ate it, as if I had made it all by myself. When Dad and I were back home, he seemed to go a bit quiet and sad again. Are you all right, Dad? I asked, hovering beside me. You do like Matthew and Simon, don't you? You don't mind if I'm their bridesmaid. I'm thrilled you're going to be their bridesmaid. They're lovely guys. I had a really good talk with Simon and he was so understanding. Did you talk about Mom? I was mostly talking about you, Tilly. I've been so worried because I know how sad you have been and a bit of a wet week as a dad. No, you've been a lovely dad. I said, I wish, said Dad. But anyway, Simon said you're happy and well-adjusted and seems to think I'm doing a reasonable job with Jill, and he's a head teacher, so he really does know about children. And I know all about dads. You're the best, I said, and gave him a hug. So that's all. Next time I will read chapter 13. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.